Welcome everyone to OnPodcast, the Microsoft podcast where we talk about Google stuff on a podcast. That's right, you heard us. We're doing a special podcast where we talk about Google I/O, which just had its opening keynote. I know that there is plenty more to talk about in the days coming, but we thought we'd get our first thoughts on the event and how it relates to what Microsoft's been doing for the past couple months, because this is, of course, a Microsoft-centric podcast. I'm your host today, Kareem Anderson. I'm joined by
David Allen, back for a special one.
Yeah, this is actually really cool. We're going to keep it short though, because we're sure you're going to be scouring the YouTubes and the internets for all kind of hot takes. We just thought we'd throw in our 2 cents as Microsoft-centric reporters and journalists. We'll start with uh, the theme. We'll make it real super clear. AI, everything. AI is in everything, and it's like the salt of Google, basically. If you are someone who cooks very much, then you'll know what we're talking about. They're putting AI in search. They're putting AI in maps. They're putting AI in phones. They're putting AI in the cloud. Similar to Microsoft, they're putting AI everywhere. What are your thoughts, quick thoughts on them putting AI everywhere?
It's everywhere, and I think it's just a start of where things are going. I mean, we're going to see AI in every device, just like it's going to be just like the internet. When we started having, everybody had to have the internet. Now where everybody's going to have AI, and no matter what you use, no matter what you pick up.
Exactly. With that being said, let's give you a quick rundown because we said this is going to be too short. They talked about some things that are coming to their language models. They're using actually brand new language models, I guess, whenever this hits the public use case. Right now, stuff's still in private and preview. Bard will be, I believe, as of today, is available to 100 and let's say 180 countries and general municipalities. So you should be able to get into that. But I believe coming up soon, they'll be having Palm 2, which is their new platform for the large language models. They talked about some things such as features as Help Me Write, which is basically if you have tried the Bing chat, it's the compose feature. And I mean, if you use ChatGPT, it's the same thing, compose feature, but on AI steroids. You can do a whole bunch of cool new things with it. They went over maps, which is a new, they have immersive routes, 3D views of everything. So imagine your regular maps, regular Google Maps with this 3D aerial camera view, which will show you traffic in the future. So what traffic could look like if you're leaving the house late or anything like that, which is super cool. They have Magic Editor, which would be Google Photos, which will allow you to basically reposition things in a photo rather than just taking them away. So you can basically create a whole new photo. So your camera doesn't really need to be, I mean, your photography skills don't need to be all that great. Google will make up for all of that. Bard will be getting support for Google Apps. It'll be put in Google Apps. So it's just like Gmail, Docs, Sheets, things like that. They are calling that version, I believe it's called, let me sure I get the right thing down, Duet AI for Workspace. So how Microsoft calls everything Copilot, theirs will be called Duet. I believe the presenter referred to the section that is, specifically carved out for Duet as Sidekick. What are your thoughts on them following Microsoft sort of in this vein?
Well, it was nice to see something on demo, like we were talking about during the announcement. They're following Microsoft. They're changing the name. They're doing Microsoft things in the Google platform. It's a matter of which platform do you like? Which presentation do you like? I know there was a part there with the educational part where they had colored pages, and I know you and I weren't necessarily a fan of those colored pages. So really, it's going to come down to what ecosystem do you like and what language model better fits what you do on a daily basis. For some people, that's going to be Copilot, like us that live in the Microsoft ecosystem. For those that live in the Google ecosystem and Google Workspace, you may choose Duet.
Yeah. With that being said, what might help your decision is that Bard will now be supporting some additional languages. They hope to have 40 by the end of the year. They said they're on track to. The new additional languages that will be coming for everyone who's trying the preview, I believe, as today, is Japanese and Korean. So that I don't know where Microsoft stands on languages particularly, but if you are interested in communicating or using things in Japanese or Korean, Google has you covered. They had some updates coming to workspaces. Again, it's mostly the AI stuff, which will be basically recommendation features for whatever app you're in. So if you're in Sheets, so to speak, it'll recommend generated uh, tables, charts, and formulas. If you're in slides, it'll just like Copilot recommend, the way the deck layouts, color schemes, creative assignments, and things like that. You'll also be able to automatically search for relevant info from linked documents in an email thread and have it summarized to you as part of their Sidekick protocol. There were updates in Google Search because that's the biggest thing, as you mentioned. Some of those updates pretty drastic. They changed entire look Microsoft Bing chat where it's scrollable. Basically, you'll have your search results, the contextual chat stuff at the top, and you can scroll down for more things. They're going to be putting, I believe they call them snapshots, will be like 3 or 4 windowed visuals as well, because Bard will be going visual, just like Bing chat did. So you'll be able to get visual answers back from your searches. There were Google Cloud updates. They will have 3 new models for developers to play around, which are Cody, Chirp, and Imagine. Imagine is like the visual AI Copilot version. I think it's Bing. What is the Bing equivalent for visuals?
Uh,
What's
are
the
we
one
talking
that you
about?
can like basic?
Are we thinking about Dolly?
It serves Dolly, but Microsoft calls it something else, and I'm drawing a blank right now. It's
I
like
am
Microsoft
too.
Design.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
thank you.
think it's Microsoft Design. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
Microsoft
their version of
Designer.
Microsoft Design. They have Chirp, which would be a chat specific one where people can build models off of chat. And then Cody, which is kind of like Copilot, which is just the AI version that Microsoft GitHub and have people basically automate their code and export it relatively quickly. Like I said, the Duet for AI Cloud, which will help all of that. They also introduced a new thing called project prototype AI notebook that basically learns from all your documents. So if you're in school, it does a ton of features that they demo, and I can't even start to get into it. But if I were in college now with those kind of tools, it would make life so much easier. We discussed that. And then I'll let you kind of go through some of the Android updates if you want to read off those real quick.
Let's see, for Android, let's see, my Google, my loop has gone loopy, folks. Let me see.
All right. No worries. I'll start while you're filling that in. We have WhatsApp coming to Wear OS, and I had a question about that because I do not feel like typing in chat or even speaking to my watch when I'm out and about. But apparently, people have been requesting that, so there will be more messaging features coming to Wear OS pretty soon. They made mention of Windows and Chrome OS for pairing protocols, which I thought was pretty notable. That I believe that might have been the only mention of Windows in the whole keynote, but for Android devices. There's a new major update for Find My devices, which will be powered by other nearby Android devices. I believe it's similar to how Apple does their Find or their tagging kind of feature, where you'll use other nearby devices to say, "Hey, the last time your whatever you lost pinged, it was near this thing." There's location info, which will now be encrypted for people. And they'll be using unknown track alerts, which is the platform that'll be known for. That's supposed to be coming later this summer. Magic Compose, which I believe is coming to Google Message, which uses generative AI to basically compose a message. You can start to type up something, and then it'll give you an option to see if you want to go even further about your message. If you want to sound more professional, more friendly, whatever. But you just don't feel like texting out the whole thing yourself. That's kind of cool. There'll be more UI updates. So, what is their thing called? Something UI. Oh God, the UI
I've,
for
dra-
Android.
I've drawn a blank on that too.
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but the whatever the UI updates that came with Android, I believe 11, will be expanded upon. They're having new lock screen stuff come where you can animate. Use, I believe you can use emojis as well. You'll be also be able to get AI generated wallpapers, which will have some parallaxing effects, things like that. You'll also be able to put some widgets built into the text on your lock screen. So when you click on it, you'll be able to jump straight into an app. So something like the weather or your clock or something like that that are present visually on your lock screen will then open that up. And the last but not least, we have pixel updates, which they did a lot of back padding, saying, "Hey, we're selling a ton of devices. We finally, hit the nail on the head with this 6 and 7." They announced the 7A, which will be available starting at $499. The Pixel tablet was also announced, something we all predicted, and I think you're interested in, which was they begin pre-orders today at $499 and should ship, I believe, in June. The Google Fold was finally announced, which is something I was interested in. And that I believe will be starting pre-orders at $17.99, which is pretty steep. And they'll be shipping next month as well. It uses, I believe, the UI itself will be Material U. That's what it's called.
That's it. That's it.
Material U will now have a two-pane notification slide for dual screen devices or foldables. Split keyboard finally, which is kind of what we got from Duo. An Android taskbar, which I believe Samsung implemented. Now Google will have its own version of it. A lot of the UI is basically pared down versions of what Samsung has as far as the foldable is concerned. So if you've seen a Galaxy Fold 3, 4, whatnot, just picture, half those apps and with a Pixel-esque kind of feel for it. And I believe that is Google I/O in a nutshell. What are your final thoughts?
Pretty good conference for Google. I think that this is a good step forward for Google. I know there's a lot of people, myself included, that are excited about the Pixel phone. I have to say, after seeing the tablet and seeing what Google has in mind, I'm not as excited about the tablet as I was. I think it's a media device with a Google Doc included with it. Now, I will throw in there that it's cool that Google is throwing in the dock for the $4.99 price. So, you kind of get the all in one package there. They're not doing an Apple thing where you buy one and then in order to get the full experience, you have to go buy something else. I'll throw it in there as far as the Pixel Fold. It's an expensive phone, like a YouTube reviewer that I just watched mentioned. It's a good phone, appears to be. It's the first iteration. So remember, go back to Samsung. The first iteration of the Z Fold had its issues. I'm going to expect some issues from the Pixel Fold, and I think anybody buying it should expect some issues. And I'll throw in for a final that if you buy the phone, I believe Google said they were throwing in a Pixel Watch for free. Now, I'm going to assume that's a no payment plan option or anything like that. I'm going to assume they're going to want that full $17.99 up front. So be prepared to open the wallet if you want to join the Pixel Fold. It's going to be interesting what Samsung does with the Z Fold that I assume will be coming in the near future to compete.
Yeah, my final thoughts are as a Microsoft fan and user of things Windows and Office and whatnot. This is a good competition. Google actually, all things considered, basically took a first step. While Microsoft has been basically implementing a lot of this stuff and promising a lot of this stuff as far as previews, we've gotten a lot of blog posts, we've gotten a lot of GIFs about how Copilot's going to work in Office, but they have yet to actually have someone kind of do a live demo. They will probably be reserving that for build, which will be in a few more weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how all of the Copilot stuff that we've all kind of been playing around with for months and been reading about works versus what Google showed off. And again, both of these things haven't actually made it to people just yet. So, everything could fall apart outside of the demo world. So Microsoft and Google are, I'd say almost neck and neck competing wise as far as the things that they're presenting. As far what is shipped, I give Google, Microsoft the leg up because they've already shipped stuff in search and they've been doing it for a few months now, and they've learned a lot. They've been moving quickly. So I am excited to see what they're going to do in this space. That is it for us. Like I said, we're going to keep it short for you guys. We appreciate you taking a few seconds to kind of hear our 2 cents on everything while you're probably getting a deluge of other information. We will try and do some more of these since it is developer season. So you will see us back here for build, probably for WWDC and anything else. If you guys have other ideas or questions you want us to cover. Thank you and bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.